The Aryan Brotherhood. Just the name sends chills down your spine. It's a name synonymous with violence, hate, and the brutal reality of prison life. But where did this group come from? How did they become so powerful? It's a story that starts in the most unlikely of places, the California prison system. Picture San Quentin State Prison in the 1960s. Racial tensions are exploding. The civil rights movement is in full swing outside the prison walls, and inside, things are even more volatile. White inmates, outnumbered and outgunned, are feeling the pressure. They need to protect themselves. That's where the Aryan Brotherhood comes in. This wasn't some social club. This was a brotherhood forged in violence. Their goal was simple: protect their own by any means necessary. And they weren't afraid to get their hands dirty. The early Aryan Brotherhood wasn't about building a criminal empire, it was about survival. They were tired of being targets, they were tired of being extorted by other gangs. So they fought back. They started small, targeting individual inmates who posed a threat. But their reputation for brutality grew quickly. They weren't afraid to use knives, shanks, or anything else they could get their hands on. They sent a message: mess with us and you'll pay the price. The violence escalated, culminating in a full-blown race war in 1975. The Aryan Brotherhood, along with other white gangs, went head-to-head with black and Hispanic gangs. The prison yard became a battleground. The authorities cracked down hard after the riot, but the Aryan Brotherhood had made their point. They were a force to be reckoned with. They had earned the respect and fear of the entire prison system. By the 1980s, the Aryan Brotherhood was more than just a prison gang. They were evolving. They were becoming more organized, more sophisticated. They realized that violence alone wouldn't get them what they wanted. They needed to branch out. They started dipping their toes into the criminal underworld, forging alliances with other gangs, even those they once considered enemies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? They saw an opportunity to make money and they weren't afraid to take it. Drugs became their main hustle. They were moving heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines, you name it. They used their network inside and outside of prison to move product and launder money. They were becoming a force to be reckoned with in the criminal underworld. By the early 1990s, the Aryan Brotherhood was a major player in the prison ecosystem. They had influence, they had money, and they weren't afraid to use it. And the Lucasville Prison Riot in 1993 showed just how powerful they had become. It started with a dispute over tuberculosis testing, of all things, but it quickly spiraled into a full-blown riot, with inmates taking control of a cell block for 11 days. The Aryan Brotherhood was right in the thick of it, calling the shots, negotiating with authorities. They used the riot to flex their muscles, to show everyone who was in control. They even broadcast their demands on the prison PA system. They wanted better living conditions, an end to overcrowding, and more control over their own lives. The riot eventually ended, but not before several inmates and a guard were killed. The Aryan Brotherhood had made their point. They weren't just a gang anymore. They were a force to be reckoned with. Section 5. The Feds strike back Operation Black Biscuit. For years, the Aryan Brotherhood operated with relative impunity within the prison system. They were the top dogs calling the shots, but the Feds were watching, gathering intelligence, waiting for the right moment to strike. That moment came in 2002 with Operation Black Biscuit, a massive federal crackdown on the Aryan Brotherhood. The Feds threw everything they had at them, indicting dozens of members on charges ranging from racketeering to murder. They used RICO laws originally designed to take down the mafia to dismantle the gang's leadership structure. They flipped witnesses, intercepted communications, and built a rock-solid case. It was a major blow to the Aryan Brotherhood, but it didn't cripple them. They may have lost some of their leaders, but their network was vast, their reach extending far beyond prison walls. They were down, but they were far from out. Section 6, the ideology, a mix of hate and greed. So what makes these guys tick? What drives them to such violence and depravity? The Aryan Brotherhood's ideology is a toxic brew of white supremacy, criminal opportunism, and a twisted sense of brotherhood forged in the crucible of prison life. They believe in the superiority of the white race, no question. They use Nazi imagery like swastikas and SS bolts, and they preach a message of hate and intolerance. But don't be fooled. This isn't some ideological crusade. It's about power. It's about money. They'll partner with other gangs, even those that they supposedly hate. If it means making a profit, they're pragmatic that way. And they use their ideology to justify their violence, to give themselves a sense of purpose in a world that has discarded them. Section 7. Joining the Brotherhood, a dangerous game. Becoming a member of the Aryan Brotherhood isn't like joining the Elks Club. This isn't a social club, it's a lifetime commitment, a blood oath, and getting in is no walk in the park. Prospective members, known as prospects, have to prove themselves worthy. They have to commit acts of violence, often against other inmates, to show their loyalty and ruthlessness. They have to be willing to kill, and they have to be willing to die for the Brotherhood. Once you're in for life. There's no getting out. Betrayal is punishable by death. No exceptions. You're part of a family, a twisted and violent family, but a family nonetheless, and they take care of their own. Inside prison, they have a support system. They have each other's backs. They have access to drugs, weapons, and other contraband, but it comes at a steep price: your freedom, your humanity, and ultimately your soul. Section 8. Structured like a corporation of crime. Don't let the prison tattoos and shaved heads fool you. The Aryan Brotherhood is more than just a bunch of thugs. They're organized, they're disciplined. They run their operations like a Fortune 500 company, with a clear chain of command and a strict code of conduct. At the top, you have the Leadership Council, the shot callers. They make the rules, they oversee the gang's activities, and they mete out punishment to those who step out of line. Below them, you have lieutenants, soldiers, and associates, each with their own roles and responsibilities. They have their own internal justice system, their own code of conduct, and their own ways of communicating, often using coded language and hand signals. They're a well-oiled machine, and that's what makes them so dangerous. Section 9, signs and symbols, how they identify. You can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep, the clothes they wear, and the tattoos they ink on their bodies. And for the Aryan Brotherhood, tattoos are more than just body art. They're a badge of honor, a symbol of their commitment to the gang. The most common symbol is the shamrock, often accompanied by the letters AB or the numbers 666. They also use Nazi imagery like swastikas and SS bolts to signify their white supremacist beliefs. And then there's the blood in, blood out motto, a stark reminder of the gang's deadly code. These tattoos are more than just skin deep. They're a way for members to identify each other, to show their allegiance, and to intimidate rivals. They're a constant reminder of who they are, what they stand for, and the consequences of betrayal. Section 10. Still a threat today. Despite decades of law enforcement efforts, the Aryan Brotherhood is still out there. They're still recruiting new members, they're still trafficking drugs, and they're still committing acts of violence both inside and outside of prison walls. They've been weakened, no doubt, but they're far from eradicated. They're like a cockroach, able to survive even the harshest conditions. They thrive in chaos, in environments where law and order have broken down. And as long as there are prisons, as long as there's racial tension, as long as there's a demand for drugs and violence, the Aryan Brotherhood will find a way to exist. They're a symptom of a much larger problem. A problem that society has yet to solve. Section 11. A legacy of violence and hate. The Aryan Brotherhood's story is a cautionary tale. It's a story about the corrupting influence of power, the dangers of hate, and the human capacity for both good and evil. They are a product of their environment, a reflection of the violence and despair that permeates the American prison system. But they are also agents of chaos, spreading their toxic ideology and perpetuating the cycle of violence. Their legacy is one of pain, suffering, and death. They have left a trail of broken lives in their wake, both inside and outside of prison walls. Their story is a reminder of the importance of justice, rehabilitation, and the need to address the root causes of crime and violence. Only then can we hope to eradicate the scourge of hate and intolerance that groups like the Aryan Brotherhood represent.